I'm going to add to council report out because I did have the privilege this week of attending the Eastside Fire and Rescue, or last week, the Eastside Fire and Rescue Board meeting with Councilmember Batiste. So here are a couple of notes from that meeting. We did celebrate a retirement recognition for Lieutenant DJ Breidenbau, who served for 33 years with Eastside Fire and Rescue. There was a very quick briefing on PFAS. Eastside Fire and Rescue, Ecology, and the city are meeting to work on next steps and scope for project work. And we will be working on filling some data gaps from the first phase of the study. Eastside Fire and Rescue is also currently hiring right now, and they're in the process of interviews. They have, I believe, 4 positions that are open. They have begun their audit work for the year with Clark Neuber. And the big discussion got deferred because our regular members weren't there, and they really want to do it with you. So this is the governance question, and this is a topic that has been on the agenda over at Eastside and talked about for at least 5 years. So alternates and other electeds that are interested in this subject, besides our regular members, which are Goodman and Ray, are encouraged to come and participate and listen. Eastside Fire and Rescue meetings are not taped. So in order to actually hear the conversation, you have to attend the meeting. But at some point in time, there will be a vote put back out to the members about governance structure. And so this is a little bit complicated. They've asked regular board members requested to review their summer vacation plans to ensure they can participate in the discussions. They want to make sure they have as many of the regulars as possible. They're hoping to have a vote by the end of the year. And as per Councilmember Ray's request, they're going to be doing a pro and con analysis will frame the discussion on the various alternatives. And the August board meeting has been canceled. I think that's the first cancellation we've got to talk about for Eastside Fire and Rescue. And the next board meeting is on July 11th, 2019, 4 p.m. at headquarters. I'll move to the mayor's report. There will be no executive session this evening. I would like to provide a little information on the city administrator recruitment activities, and I will continue to do that as we move through the process. As I've said earlier, we have hired Karis Consulting to spearhead the recruitment process. Our job posting closed last week, June 12th. I will be meeting with Karis this week to look at a candidate list based on the screening interviews that they've been holding over the last few weeks. Laughing Jacobs Creek Basin Plan Interagency Agreement. If approved by both city councils, City of Issaquah and City of Sammamish, the Laughing Jacobs Creek Basin Plan Interagency Agreement would provide a framework for the cities of Sammamish and Issaquah to collaboratively develop a basin plan for Laughing Jacobs Creek. Approximately 10% of this basin is in the City of Issaquah, including the creek's outlet to Lake Sammamish. This reach of the creek contains primary spawning habitat for kokanee salmon, which are native to Lake Sammamish. The development of this plan would identify and prioritize actions to address flooding, prevent erosion, improve water quality, and create fish and wildlife habitat. I'm adding this information tonight because the item is on consent for your approval. The Tallis Middle School project. The Issaquah School District will be constructing a new middle school in the Tallis neighborhood. And I'd like to give a few updates about this project. Our community is extremely interested in all things school. The plans for this middle school show the building at approximately 130,000 square feet, and it will house up to 1,000 students. Issaquah School District's target for breaking ground is this summer, with completion in the fall of 2021, at the start of the 2021 school year. This timeline is ambitious. The project status, there's a site development permit currently under review. Issaquah School District has indicated that they are contemplating some significant changes to the site design based on comments they've received from the community and the public so far, and the city. King County Million Trees Grant. King County launched the 1 Million Trees initiative following the county's adoption of its Strategic Climate Action Plan in 2015. The goal is to plant 1 million trees by 2020 as a way to support carbon sequestration and healthy forests, streams, and neighborhoods. To support the initiative for planting a large number of trees by the end of 2020, each RIA 8 in King County was provided $175,000 to support tree planting through a grant process. The RIA 8 project subcommittees have recommended a grant award to Issaquah of $75,000 to plant 10,000 trees over approximately 28 acres of city-owned parks and open space properties along Tibbetts and Issaquah Creek. Our partnerships with Mountains to Sound Greenway Trust and Washington Conservation Corps will allow us to maximize this tree planting effort by utilizing seasonal staff, AmeriCorps volunteers, and community volunteers across King County. The timing of this tree planting effort supports the larger Green Issaquah partnership that the city is kicking off this year with Forterra. The project will assess the city's forest health and ultimately inform a forest stewardship program that will support long-term enhancement, restoration, and maintenance of the city's forests and natural systems. This item is also on the consent agenda this evening for council. I wanted to add a few comments about the city council meetings in transition. During a council workshop last winter, council decided to go forward with a transition to a study session model versus a council committee structure. This is the first time for us as a city, and this process will feel different to the community, the council, and staff. As we move through this transition, I'll provide updates through my mayor's comments. Study sessions will be scheduled for the second and fourth Monday of each month. Committee meetings will no longer be scheduled as of September. Some of the things the public may notice is that there are more items on the consent portion of the regular city council meeting agenda, and that major policy discussions at study sessions will have all 7 council members involved. And as I was earlier mentioned, right now we have a council ad hoc committee that's reviewing council rules of procedure. My last item, Bergsma funding update. So the King County Conservation Futures Committee's recommendation was shared with the applicants last Friday. The City of Issaquah made an application for grant funding as part of the Bergsma acquisition, and in order for us to have a successful funding strategy, this was the key grant. We applied for funding as part of the strategy to fund the Bergsma acquisition. We received some great news last Friday in that committee recommendation includes fully funding our application of $5.3 million for Bergsma. This is the amount we identified in our funding strategy last fall and have been discussing with agency partners as the full Bergsma acquisition scenario began to take shape last year. Once awarded later this year, these grant funds would represent a large portion of the partner funding we anticipated, but it's not all of it. Next up will be the state resource conservation grants that we will be applying for in 2020. This King County funding and the financial partnership it represents will only further strengthen these future grant applications. This news from King County is only a recommendation, so what comes next? These are funding recommendations made to the county executive, which will be incorporated into legislation and then approved by King County Council. Nothing is final, as this council knows, until the county council approves those recommendations. Legislation from the executive is moving forward later this month, and the goal of the King County staff is to have this legislative package passed by September. As we learn more, we will work closely with our many partners in making sure that advocacy continues and that throughout this adoption process, the County Council understands the broad regional support that the Bergsma project has. And that concludes the mayor's report.